What if you could build an entire explorable 3D world from just a single idea? You just type out a few words or show it one picture and poof, it's there? Well, that's not science fiction anymore. Today we're diving into a really exciting new framework called HunyuanWorld 1.0 that is promising to do exactly that. The team behind this kicks off their research paper with this quote from William Blake, and it's just the perfect way to frame this. It really captures the sheer scale of the ambition here. This isn't just about making one little 3D object. Nope, it's about creating a whole universe from the tiniest seed of an idea. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the big dream, the why behind all this. Then we'll get into the huge problem researchers have been banging their heads against. After that, we'll see how HunyuanWorld offers a new way forward, walk through how it works step by step, see how it stacks up against the competition, and finally, look at what this all means for you and me. Okay, so let's start with that dream. Why is this such a big deal? Generating entire worlds from a prompt, what's the ultimate goal here? It really all comes down to one simple but powerful idea: democratizing 3D content creation. Forever, building these amazing immersive worlds for VR, for video games, for robotics, that's been something only super skilled artists and engineers could do. Being able to just generate them automatically, that's a massive milestone. It could unlock all new kinds of creativity for literally everyone. But man, getting here has been tough. For a long time, researchers were kind of stuck, caught between two very different and ultimately very flawed ways of doing things. So what were these old methods, and why didn't they quite get us there? It really boils down to this two-sided problem that was just holding everything back. So on one side, you've got these video-based methods. And yeah, they can make some really beautiful, diverse scenes. But there's no real 3D consistency. Think of it like a movie set facade. It looks amazing from the front, but you walk around back and there's nothing there. Plus, that format just doesn't play nice with game engines. Then on the other side, you have the 3D-based methods. These are rock-solid geometrically. They work great with all the existing tools. But they're starved for good 3D training data, and they tend to create these scenes where everything is sort of fused together, like one giant unchangeable statue. You can't just pick up a chair and move it. It's all stuck. And this is exactly where Tencent's HunyuanWorld 1.0 comes into the picture. It offers a totally new path that gets the best of both worlds. So what's the secret sauce here? Well, the really brilliant move is how it combines them. Instead of starting with a video or trying to build a 3D model from nothing, HunyuanWorld starts by generating a super high-quality 360-degree panoramic image. And this panorama? It acts like a world proxy. Think of it as a complete visual blueprint that gives you all the rich detail of a 2D image, but with a full 360-degree foundation to build on. And this clever approach gives us three huge advantages that the old ways just couldn't. One, you get truly immersive 360-degree experiences. Two, you can export the whole thing as a standard mesh that works instantly in game engines like Unity or Unreal. And three, and this is a big one, the objects inside the world are actually separate. You can interact with them. You can pick them up, move them around, and resize them. It's a real living space.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does the system actually go from a single sentence to a full 3D world you can walk around in? It's actually a pretty cool multi-stage process. The whole creation process breaks down into 4 main stages. First, the AI generates that critical panoramic image, which is like the canvas for the world. Then, and this is my favorite part, it starts to peel the scene back into different layers. After that, it rebuilds each of those layers in 3D. And finally, it can even start to generate what's beyond the original view. The researchers call this second step an autoregressive onion peeling process. And it's such a great description. The AI basically looks at the scene and, one by one, identifies the foreground objects, separates them, then identifies the ground, and finally, the sky. Each of these becomes its own distinct layer, which is the whole secret to getting a scene with separate interactive parts. It's literally peeling the image apart to understand how it's built. So the theory is really elegant, but how does it actually perform in the real world? Well, when you put it head-to-head with other models, HunyuanWorld is pretty darn impressive.
Let's look at the data because it tells a really clear story. This table is comparing text to world generation. So for the Brisk score, that measures visual quality, and a lower number is better. And look, HunyuanWorld scores the lowest. Then for the Clip T score, which checks how well the image matches the text prompt, higher is better. And yup, HunyuanWorld comes out on top there too. So it's measurably better at both looking good and following instructions.
The numbers are one thing, but it's when you actually see the visual comparisons in the paper that it really clicks. You look at the other models and you see these weird distortions or artifacts, especially when you try to look far away. But HunyuanWorld, because it starts with that solid panoramic foundation and uses that onion peeling approach, just consistently creates worlds that are way more coherent, high quality, and geometrically stable. Okay, now for the most exciting part, the so what. What does all this technology actually unlock for creators, for developers, for all of us?
The applications here are just huge. We're talking about generating entire immersive worlds for VR. Or we can use these worlds for realistic physics simulations to see how things would work. For game developers, this is a game changer for creating assets and even whole levels super fast. And because everything is its own object, you can build genuinely interactive experiences. And for any of this to be useful in the real world, it's gotta be efficient, right? Well, using some advanced compression techniques, the system can shrink these incredibly complex worlds by up to 90%. And that massive size reduction is what makes it possible for them to load almost instantly in a web browser. That's the key that opens the door for this to be used everywhere. So ultimately, HunyuanWorld 1.0 is a massive leap forward. It's bridging that gap between a simple idea, that grain of sand, and a fully realized playable 3D world. And maybe the most important part is that it's designed from the very beginning to make that incredible power accessible to everyone.
This all leaves us with a pretty inspiring question. As this tech gets better and easier to use, the only real limit is going to be our imagination. So I'll leave you with this. If you could create any world at all, from some crazy alien planet to a peaceful, quiet beach, just by thinking it up, what would you make first?